Well, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, wherever you are out there, especially to our friends out there that are watching this on our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching us there. And if you would please subscribe and like us, and that way you'll get notifications when I post these videos up if you're enjoying them and you're learning anything. And for those who are here today, thank you very much. It's the beginning of the school year, and we got some folks out with kids doing stuff and some people on last minute vacations, of which I'm going to be taking one next week too. I will be on here on Friday though, so I will be here Friday at 1 o'clock Central Time to run the meeting next week. Luckily, the place that we had, I had my wife double check, and we do have good internet connection. So we're good to go there as long as we got internet. Shoot, what do we do without internet, right? Probably group conference calls. But welcome to the AI We Care team. We're a Nowsite Users group. We meet every Friday at 1 p.m. Central Time. And you can find us the way to get here on our resource page, which is aiwecareteam.now.site. And you can find all these videos plus a lot of tips and tricks and a lot bunch of other stuff up there that'll help you, as well as some of the latest news from Nowsite Corporate on what they're doing if you have a difficult time finding that. So today, what we're going to talk about is the new release of what was now AI is now My AI. They've renamed it, and I think it's a great name for it because it is you. My AI is actually going to become a clone of you. So my AI's name is Steve AI, and if you haven't onboarded and done for the My AI, you should do it. By the way, they did extend the promotion. It's for $24, I think.
I
Or
thought it was 1999.
no, they moved it up.
Well, did they?
Yeah, I think it's $24 now. I know the code's 240 and 24. So it's probably $24 for the next couple of days. They will be adding some new stuff into my AI in the coming week, like the video reels, Instagram reels, Facebook reels, TikTok, and some other things. And you're going to be able to upload video on your social posts now. And that's the great thing about my AI. The real strength in it actually came from a tool that they acquired with the acquisition of contact mapping. And they've got this social media. Oh, that's the other thing you're going to be able to do. You're going to be able to do a bunch of posts in advance, get them out of the way. And then what will happen is my AI will email you and remind you when to send those things. So you can go back in and putting on a send schedule. So that's pretty cool too, especially if you're doing some kind of social media campaign. But that's where the emphasis is right now is on my AI. So if you haven't subscribed to it, I would recommend going to September 2023.now.site. That's the website. That's the corporate website. And if you go down, you'll see a little subscribe with the pricing on that. And you can go ahead and click on there and get my AI, which is super cool. I've been using it all week. I love it. And doing things, and social media is a very important part of your campaign, especially when you're telling your story. And that's what people want to do out there. On the meeting before the meeting, which we always have about 15, 20 minutes before this meeting, we were talking a little bit about that, you really don't sell anything on the internet. Let me repeat that. You don't really sell anything. What we do is we tell stories with the hope of getting people to like us, trust us, and find us of value. Because we know that people like to do business that they like and they trust. So really, if your strategy is out there, like with price points and trying to do promotions and trying to sell things, you're not going to get a lot of feedback or even a lot of people biting on that. Every once in a while, you get somebody to go there. But what you want to do is you really want to build a story on what you're doing out there. And social media is a great tool to do that with. So like one of the things that I did this week is my business consulting business last week got a great new client, um, a restaurant group here in the Houston market. And so with the client's permission, I put out there on Facebook, just Facebook, nowhere else, that we had acquired a new client. and who it was and everything else. And within the first hour or so, I got a ton of likes, ton of shares, and a lot of people, comments on it and everything else. Probably the most I've ever done. So let's talk about why that's important that I did that. The reason it's important is because people, in order to get noticed, you have to tell your story. Now, back with me as a baby boomer, we were taught, let your work speak for yourself. Well, in today's marketing world, if you wait for your work to speak to yourself, you're going to starve. You got to actually get out there and you got to brag a little bit. Talk about what you're doing. So one of the things that came off of that post last week when I did that is I had 3 people reach out to me through Messenger on Facebook, send me a note and say, we'd like to meet with you and talk about what you offer your clients. Now, how I got that, and I've already had one of those meetings this week already, was they said, if you're good enough for that group, you must be the kind of business we're looking for. So I call that indirect selling. So based on an acquisition of a client who's well known in the marketplace, somebody saw my post and said, we really need to do that digital marketing, but we really don't know what to do. These guys must like this guy, so that's why they hired him. Well, the other thing I also put was in our 400 other clients in the marketplace. So when you start saying things like that, they say, well, these guys must be doing something right if they got 400 clients, you know. And one of the guys had looked up my LinkedIn page, even though he was on Facebook, and he saw my tagline, which is simple, effective, and affordable. And so one of the questions he had me, he says, well, I saw there in your LinkedIn page, you're affordable. He's kind of laughing. So what's your definition of affordable? And I said, well, you're going to be surprised. And so we actually set up a demo for Monday morning with 2 of his partners and going through, especially when I said, let me tell you, if I could do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G for you for under $150 a month, would that be worth it? He says, nobody can do that. I said, well, why don't you come and see the demo? And that's how I booked him for the demo. Because he couldn't believe, because when I sell it now, I sell it for $99, even though there's a special going on right now. If you know about the special, I'll give it to you. But I'm not going to offer it up. If you find out about it, I'll get it reversed. I'm going to do that. But for all the work that we provide for our clients, we think that the residual income should be a little higher than what it is. And so, especially for us Nowsite users, we know what a screaming deal it is, even at $99 a month, just for the unlimited marketing. And then when you get the AI Power Pack on top of it for $38, so for basically $137, you've got an unstoppable platform to do all your marketing from. I'm doing that. So, so I'm starting to lean more to this. I also read a book. I think I made a recommendation on this last week's show. It's a great book out there called Badass Your Brand. And it's by a gal named Sylvia Pia. And it's on Kindle. It's inexpensive. It's 194 pages. It's a great read. But if you've ever wondered about how to price your services, this is a great book to read and do things on, not how to undervalue your value and your knowledge and what worth it has in the marketplace and doing that. So that's a good book. I'll make a recommendation there for that week. And one I haven't recommended in a long time, and it has a new version that just came out, which I ordered last night, is Marketing 5.0. That's basically the Bible of digital marketing now. If you're in digital marketing, you need to read that book. Again, that's Marketing 5.0. It's by 2 Harvard business professors who are economists. And they basically looked at the old model, which was the 4 Ps, price, product, position, all those good ones. And they flipped it over and they use a model we use with our clients that we adopted a couple of years ago called the 5 A's. And you really want to immerse yourself in that and look at that to help yourself, especially with Nowsite, because Nowsite has so many moving pieces. You need to understand how to move it forward. And by understanding the 5 A's, which is awareness, appeal, ask, acquisition, and advocate. If you use those 5 things in that order and build your marketing messages in that way, we're doing it. What I realized is by posting on social media, talking early, and basically bragging about ourselves, what that creates is the second A, appeal. What are these guys doing that they're successful? They're out there telling the world that they got these great clients. So what I'm going to do starting next week is I'm going to create a whole new story on our company that I founded almost 5 years ago, and I'm going to tell the story why I founded this company, what its purpose is, what we do. I'm going to ask for some client testimonials, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to start posting 3 to 4 days a week, like writing a book. Chapter 1, this is how we got started. 2, this is what I found out about Nowsite. 3, this is what I found out about Intuitive. 4, this is when we read some books and put this place. These are some of our customers. Here are some success stories. This is what we're doing. I've never talked about this show on social media. I've never talked about it. And I'm thinking, what a way to get people to join us is to talk about the show, especially if you're an outside user. Or if you're looking for a digital marketing platform to run your business from. Here it is. Sometimes we don't think about marketing our own selves. And that's what social media is about, is telling your story. I know I like the stuff I get there every once in a while, like the little inspirational quotes and, the photos or an article somebody shares. And every once in a while I'll read those. But what's going to interest me more is, learning about people. People like to hear stories. I mean, how come people buy so many books every year? Because they like stories. Why do they watch TV? They like stories. It's interesting. It's like an escapism. It lets you get into somebody else's world or do something else. Or if you're like me and a dedicated lifelong learner, I can never stop learning enough. So, taking the time to read and learn and then to apply will always have you grow as an individual in doing that. So I think that's critical about how to tell your story. I know Bob and I were talking the other day and before the meeting too, and Bob says, well, I'm thinking about getting ready to do a blog. And, he says, but I don't really know how to get started. Well, the number one social media channel in the universe is YouTube, not Facebook, not LinkedIn, not Pinterest, not WhatsApp, not any of those. YouTube. And trust me, YouTube has saved me a ton of money by doing some diagnoses on problems and saying, well, especially on vehicles, well, this is happening. I have misfire on this on my vehicle. And, you go on there, those mechanics will tell you, well, it's either A, B, C, or D. And this is how you check for those and do that. And lo and behold, I've done that. God knows how much I've saved myself in money by doing things like that. So, I told Bob, what did I say, Bob? Go to YouTube, watch a couple of videos, learn how to write a blog. Blogs are really, really, popular. Why? Because people like stories. There's a good book out there. Yes, go ahead, Johnny.
Do you mind if I ask a question quick?
Sure.
What, I thought YouTube was mainly for promoting like videos. Can you do like a blog on YouTube?
Oh man, there's all kinds of things. There's like you name it. I mean, if you want to learn how to do something,
Uh-huh.
you just have to go ahead and put the search bar. I want to learn how to fly fish. It'll take you to like a gazillion videos, and I want to learn how to cast. There's got to be like 500 videos in there on how to cast a fly rod.
Okay.
So they're instructional. So there's all kinds of like how to fix things, how to repair things, how to do things. I mean, it's just full of stuff like that.
I mean,
So,
I do have a blog page, which I haven't been at for a long time.
so
Well,
what you might want to do
I
is,
do too.
yeah, and you can take that, and what's coming soon, because it is coming soon, you're going to be able to take AI, give it your blog that you wrote, and have it turn it into a storybook
That's nice.
or a video
Mm.
or a PowerPoint presentation.
I do have another question, if you don't mind.
Sure, that's what this is all about.
Um, I have been noticing that my AI has been getting the days of the week mixed up
Oh,
when it's doing a social post. What's the best way to correct it or
okay. So, this is one of the things I've learned with ChatGPT 4. It's a child. It's
okay.
still learning. I never publish anything that I do with ChatGPT without thoroughly editing it to make
Oh,
sure
I edit. Yes.
to make sure all the information is correct. But think about this. It probably gets confused. If I'm asking you for a date of the week in India and a time, because remember it's worldwide.
Mhm.
So you have to basically say, I'm in the central time zone of the United States. You actually literally have to, as it's learning you, you have to say, and it's like I told you when you were using the business profile to build your business profiles in Nowsite. When you do that, you can't put in enough information. You need to put your location, your website, your social media URLs, your phone number, your text number, any way that people can engage with you needs to be in your business profile. You need to list all your products and services that you do
Okay.
because that's learning you. And now, especially since your business profile is attached to your My AI,
Mhm.
it's learning more and more about you. So the more information, relevant information that you can give it, it will give you much more and better quality output that you can use. So um, the whole thing is like, and you've heard me say this several times: garbage in, garbage out. It's like anybody can make wine. You can squish some grapes, throw some yeast in it, throw it in a bottle, come back in 16 weeks. It'll be wine. You may not be able to drink it, but it'll be wine, right? And so what's the difference? When a inventor makes it, the inventor knows every step of the process to get the best taste out of that grape. AI is the same thing. You want to be a vintner, you want to craft a fine wine when you're using AI to do that. So I would recommend, again, there are courses out there. I just finished one that you can take to learn how to use ChatGPT right and get certified. There's several universities offering them right now, certification courses, a couple community colleges. You can go on to YouTube and you can watch there's several really good ChatGPT 4 YouTube videos out there on how to do specific things
Mm.
with ChatGPT to get it to do what you need it to do and what you want to do. So, those are the things that, you really need to work on. But it's like the real thing here, I mean, the key is storytelling. Uh, just like, just like we had to change our whole perspective on marketing, where, price product, position. That's presentation. That's that stuff is in a museum now. The 5 A's, the way we market is totally changed. So is selling. You know, people really don't care about price that much anymore. There's really not that much different. What they're really interested in is quality, something that's going to last. So if I've got an item and I'm in a very competitive market, my story is going to be, well, my widget is better than anybody else's widget because we use these materials, we do this testing, we give it this kind of warranty, we do all kinds of stuff. You know, you go to Shade Tree Mechanic and get your brakes done, drive down the road about 500 miles, come back and they're broken. Too bad. I'll fix them again for you. Or you can go to a garage, pay twice as much, get a ASE mechanic to do it, and have the work warranted and the parts and materials for 12 months or 24,000 miles. You're going to pay more, but you're going to get a quality product. And how did they know that? What they don't want service warranty work. They did the 12-month, 24,000 miles is because they know it'll last longer than that, or probably the lifetime of the vehicle in doing that. So that's what you really have to look at these days, is you really have to think about your product, what you sell, where do you want to position yourself in the market? And again, that's another question. You know, you always hear this, the World Wide Web, right? Maybe global, but the majority of your business is going to be local. And if you're a brick and mortar business, you're going to do 90% plus of your business with no more than a 20-mile radius of where that business is. And if that's the case, how do you own that market? What do you need to do to own that market? How do you get yourself all the way up on the Google rankings? How do you get yourself, you know, out there where people refer to you because you build a brand? You know, when I was going to, I'll never forget this. When I was going through graduate school at Northwestern, we had this great professor who we had as a marketing professor, and he basically taught about branding. That's what it was. So this was in 2000. Do you know what the #1 brand in the world in 2000 was? You know, and he had us guess. There was about 30 of us in the class, and he had us everybody guess what it was. Right?
Nike.
No, it wasn't. So that, and he says, and I'm going to tell you what. This is how we know it's #1. He says, my girlfriend has a Harley Davidson logo tattooed on the left side of her ass.
She's a diehard.
Harley Davidson was the #1 brand in the world in 2000.
That's because it's a culture, not a brand.
There you go. Yeah, it's a culture, right? It's like our dear departed friend Jimmy Buffett, right?
Yep. It's a community.
It's a community. Parrot heads.
Parrot heads. Yep.
You know, he figured that out and made $1 billion on an idea. You know, and so, you know, you think about it, and how did he do that? He told a story about boat drinks, tropical skirts, going to the islands and hanging out in the water, fly fishing, you know, complete escapism. But that was the story he told, and that's how he sold everything. He sold you a piece of his dream. Is your business any different? Not really. Because like you have all these competitors, so did Buffett. You know, I mean, he had, how many other guys do rock and roll, who do country music? Think about the ones who really succeed. Even the Beatles. Think about the Beatles. They even knew this. What was the most radical thing they did when they came out? It was their haircuts.
Their hair, their bowl cuts.
Nobody wore long hair like that. Everybody was wearing crew cuts. or DuckTales, guys. And so what they did, they created this whole anti-culture type of thing tied into good music. So, the Beatles became as much as a cultural phenomena as they did they're good musicians, but that was that little hook that got them a little bit further. So when you're thinking about your business, one of the things I would always talk to my clients about is why you? Questions, why you?
Gotta have an itch.
What makes you different? Why you? And that's why I think my AI on Nowsite is going to be such a powerful tool, because it's going to really give you the ability to focus and write your story and get your story out there and be able to say that message. You want to do business with me because, I see Deborah's on here, and Deborah's great. I mean, Deborah, if you ever need to sell a house in the League City, Friendswood, Bay Area places, Deborah Winter Cheney is the person to go to. She goes,
Well,
she goes,
my
go ahead,
thought,
Deborah. Yeah, go ahead.
my thought, Steve, is, why me? You want to work with somebody who's ethical, who's honest, who has experience, who is knowledgeable in what they're doing. They're trained, they have designations, they have some track record. I think there's a lot of things like that. It's not just because you're a nice guy.
No, and
I
you've got a great story, but you do a good job at networking groups telling that story, but you've never really told it in your marketing. And that's why I'm excited to work with you on my AI next week.
Well, yeah, I have this, I did a video, it's on YouTube.
Okay.
And it talks about, it's about a 2-minute video, and it talks about why somebody should use a realtor. Why should you even call a realtor? Why bother? And it talks about what specifically I do with buyers and specifically I do with sellers, and why you don't just, trust the salesman at the new home, model home, working with them, because they don't represent you. They represent the builder. So do you want representation or not? And that's kind of what the video is about, basically. And it's, I need to make another video, but I like the message of that video. So
Yeah, I mean, and so that's a great tool. So that's part of the tool to start telling your story.
All right, and well, he has your number? Or
And
he does. Okay, I will, Gilman. Gene, right? Okay, I'll tell him.
yeah, put somebody on mute there. There we go. But yeah, so I'm in the chat right now. I put the link. They're actually going to start basic training on Monday, 11 o'clock Central Time. And if you go to https://myai.live, you're going to be able to actually sit through some pretty good training on basics on my AI.
okay.
And so I put it in there, and I encourage everybody to at least sit through a couple of those to get a handle on it. Cheryl Coco does a wonderful job on that, and give you a
And
little
that's
idea.
before we talk. But yeah, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, yep. So go ahead and join that,
Okay,
and give you a better idea on those type of things as well.
thank you.
But so Bob, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay, why would I want to get my health insurance from you?
Because I'm going to take care of you and your family as people. Make sure that you're covered for the what I call the curveballs that life throws at you.
But you got a great story. You should tell it. I mean, how cool is it that my insurance agent used to be the superintendent of a large school district?
Yeah.
That's a story. People
Right?
people
Right?
that say I take care of my clients, I do that, everybody says that. Same thing with realtors, right? I listen to my people, whatever. You have to come up with something that's unique to you that no one else is saying in the industry, because otherwise you're just noise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like with me, I mean, it's like, why would you want to do business with me? Well, I need to talk more about my credentials. I don't talk enough about it.
I know
I just don't talk about my
all the things.
credentials. Well, what have you done? Well, would you trust somebody with your business that's run a corporation that did $500 million a year and had 3,000 employees? Oh, it was a large media company.
Right. Would you trust somebody who ran newspapers for a billion years and
Yeah,
was the top producer and blah, 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 was the CEO of the League City Chamber? I mean, you got a good story too.
I know. So, I mean, that's what I'm trying to get across today is that in this new world of digital marketing, it really is coming down to storytelling and getting people to know you in a familiar way. And a bigger piece of it is, I think, understanding where your market is. Like I said, if you're a brick and mortar store, 90% of your business in your lifetime is going to come from a 20-mile radius of that store, unless you offer some kind of unique specialty item that you can't get anyplace else. You know, it's like, I mean, here's a perfect example of a guy's obsession here. I would drive 3 hours to go to a Bass Pro Shop when there wasn't one near me.
Me
Yeah.
too. I love them.
But it's part of the brand. It's part of the lifestyle I like, and it's what I like to do. And I know that people go there and do things. There are people like me that do the same things. So, I mean, I would encourage everybody to start thinking about, what's your story? You know, what do who are you? What do you do? And then use the great platform and Nowsite offers to start telling that story and how you do that on doing that thing. I mean, Catherine, I mean, you're also in the insurance business and a bunch of other stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, but you got a great story too. I mean, I know your story, but
Yeah.
how you even came into the business is an incredible story.
And that story's on LinkedIn in detail. It's
Yep.
also on Facebook.
Yep.
And so that's kind of the niche, right? Like, so you can say I sell health insurance, I do whatever, but can you say that I went to the office, I met the president, I talked to the underwriters, and I have the product myself, and I can offer no co-pays, no co-insurance, and no deductibles at half the price of an ACA plan? Can you say that? So that's the niche, right? That's something different than someone else that just says, well, I sell this, or well, I'll take care of my customers. Or I used to have a client who was a moving company, and they said, we've been in business, since Jesus walked the earth. We have great trucks. We have whatever. I'm like, who cares? Like, if you're a moving company, of course you have trucks. No kidding. Really?
Yeah.
Imagine that. You have trucks. I thought y'all moved, with bicycles. Like, stupid when you think about it. And I showed that company, I was a business coach before this. I showed that company, I took the yellow pages back when we used the yellow pages. I took 14 other ads out that said almost the identical thing. And I said, why should I use you over any of these other people? So what we did was we came to conclusion that their insurance, first of all, the way that they pack things were different, and their insurance gave them replace value, right? Meaning they didn't just assess and say your table's only worth $150 now, even though you paid $2,000 for it. They gave them replacement value for that table. Well, at that point, most moving companies did not do that. So we found their niche and we used the snot out of it and posted it everywhere. And I said, if you're using a moving company now, you ask them if they have replacement value insurance. 90% of them did not.
Mhm.
That company blew up. They actually had to go buy more of their famous trucks, right? Because we had more business. So that's how you find the niche. Find out what you do that's different than everybody else. And if you don't have one, you need to get one.
And then the other part that's important when you're telling your stories are, confirmation, right? So the more testimonials you can get, okay? Now I'm learning this right now, and I'm going to start working on this over the next month, is I'm going to start doing video testimonials.
Okay.
I'm going to have clients sit down with me and do an interview and talk about their business, how we worked on it, what the results were, and not about, and it's going to be about them, not so much me, but the underlying theme will be they worked with us. We helped this happen. I'd be asking questions like, why did you engage our services? Well, we didn't know what we were doing. Yep. So what do you feel about your service, where you're at now? Are you more confident about your message going up? Well, yeah. How do we know that? Business has increased. So I'm going to do these little one-on-one, quick 2 to 3 minute videos and start posting them on social media. And create a library back on my YouTube channel, things like this, and then start using them for emails as well and doing different things. So, the other thing is if you have a really nice facility, or like a brick and mortar store, you need to show it off. You need to be taking video. You need, it's like, so you need to be posting things like, we just got a whole new bunch of widgets in. Here's pictures of these widgets. They're the latest widgets and everything else. And this is the reason we bought them, and you may want to come down and try on a widget. So where I got that idea was I still got several Volkswagen dealers trying to sell me an Atlas, although I already bought one. And the Volkswagen dealership up in Cyprus here in Houston is really good at this. So the salesman comes down to me and he goes, sends me a quick video clip. You see the truck with all the new Atlases on the 24s. He goes out there with his video camera. He takes a picture of them, goes in, does a real quick spin on what the new stuff is on them and what models they got. And he says, and if you're interested in a quick price, call me at this thing. And he does that. He sends it out in the video. So he's keeping me up to date on what he's got. The other thing he sent me back, he knew I bought one. He sent me back. He goes, I can give you this much more. He was going to give me more in trade for what I paid for it as a hook to come in and buy a new vehicle. Now I know they're making money somehow. I don't know how. I may end up with a lesser payment, but more car, but I don't know. But it was kind of interesting. But they were really engaged with people, even though I had not bought from them. He was staying engaged with me because he knows I like the vehicle, and I may be interested in what's changing in the vehicle, and he may not get me this year, but I may be saying, I like what they did this year. Maybe I want to trade up by staying engaged. And one of the mistakes we make is we don't stay engaged enough. So when you're downloading people, you're doing an email campaign. Once that email campaign stops, you should be already working on the next email campaign or a newsletter where you're keeping people informed about what you do. So one of the things we're going to start doing is a digital newsletter that's going to be monthly for the company to talk about who our new clients are, what we're doing, what we're offering, what's new in Nowsite, what are some new tools, and different things like that. Because I'm going to be doing some OTT TV commercials for one of my new clients. So that's something I want to start talking about, that we offer that. And if you're interested, you can get a hold of us. And we'll give examples. We'll put their commercial up on our website so that people can see it and do things. So I guess the message I have today is think about how many ways you can tell your story. Let your mind expand and think about who your market is, who's your avatar, who's your target market, where do they live, work, and play, And how can you immerse yourself in that space where you have a bigger piece of the pie and what we used to call TOMA, top of mind awareness, over any of your competition in that marketplace? I think that's going to be critical for success in the future. Melissa, you've been kind of quiet. What do you?
Honestly, just listening, just listening.
So, so what do you?
Yeah.
What, I mean, you've got a lot of competitors in this market.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I mean, but I think that you guys have a great story to tell,
Yeah.
because what I see is nobody else in the market that's doing what you do,
Mhm.
and I'm a target, my age group,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen anything targeted to me on home care.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you guys have a world of opportunity, as in probably in the whole South Texas, Brazoria, Galveston County area, because you guys have the whole area.
Yeah.
And I
Not
think you
every
guys,
speaker is exceptional like you though, Steve.
yep,
They're not all tech savvy either. A lot of it is just word of mouth right now and just setting ourselves apart from the competition because there is a lot. But you're right, as far as like online presence, there's really not any targeting happening there.
and this is something I learned when I was going through branding at Northwestern as well. So they use this as a case study. Every guy's dream, as soon as he can start driving, is to own a Corvette. Just in the US DNA. Okay. Not very many people buy a Corvette. It's very limited because they're expensive and everything else. But Chevrolet has done such a good job of branding Corvettes. And think about, this is what the underlying message is on a Corvette, is it's an affordable Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
Even though a person has never owned a Corvette, if somebody said, well, I'm thinking about buying a sports car, the number one recommendation, even to this day, even though they've never owned one, never driven one, is the first recommendation that's made is a Corvette.
Yeah.
Because they've built such a strong brand that word of mouth is taking over and has done that, especially now that they, I saw one yesterday, one new C8. I mean, it looks like a Ferrari. I mean, it's unbelievable. And it's still under $100,000. I thought I'd never say that from somebody who's owned 3 Corvettes.
Yeah.
And my first Corvette was a 67, and I bought it in 74, and I paid $6,500 for it. If I still had that car today, there was one at the that was at the Bartlett auction. It was almost identical to what I had, auctioned off for $240,000. It's, with, I'd only know, but I mean, even a Corvette that's like 20 years old, a 2004, is still selling for about $24,000. And Corvettes are kind of weird because they decline in price to a certain point, then they level off. Then as they get older, their value increases. So they're actually a commodity. It's an investment. How many cars do you know are investments?
Yeah. Not many.
Not many. It's like boats. You know what a boat is, right? A boat is a hole in the water you pour money into. From somebody,
What's the old
from
joke?
somebody who's owned a couple of boats, I know.
What's the old joke? The happiest day a man's life is when he gets his first boat.
Yeah.
And then the happiest day in his life is when he sells the boat.
Yeah, I mean, point like now when I go fishing and stuff like that, I'll hire a guide. It's cheaper to hire a couple of guides a year than just to own a boat.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of cleanup work, that's for sure.
And doing those kind of things. But unless you're really in love with the sport, like I've got a good friend of mine who's really into sailing, and if you like sailing, then and you sail all the time, then it's worth it. But just a power boat, nah, unless you're going to live on it, I don't even see any reason to have one anymore in doing that. So I think this was a worthwhile talk. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say today, and I didn't bore you to tears. I hope I gave you
No,
something to
you
think
never
about.
are boring. Never boring.
I hope I gave you something to think about, and and can help you build your business. And if you need help, you can always contact us at Patterson Consulting Partners, and we'll be more than happy to sit down and do a complimentary consultation with you and help you identify some of those things for you. And then if we earn your trust, maybe you'll be nice enough to hire us. You never know to do that. So Johnny, I haven't heard from you either. I mean, I know you just retired
Yeah.
not too long ago, and I know that you're looking to make residual income.
Mhm.
Why did you choose Nowsite?
Well, my story goes back to when I was actually physically working. I would work 12-hour 12-hour days constantly, and then you'd have to skip a day or so, and then you'd have to flip flop to the opposite, either night or day.
Right.
And I got tired of that. And I had a friend that was doing marketing, and I remember when she was first struggling and to try to do marketing. And I said, "What are you up to?" This was a couple years ago. And she said, "Well, I'm doing this with Nowsite." And I thought, well, let me take a look at it. And I thought, okay. I looked at it. I saw right away its potential, what it has to offer. And now it's like a gold mine. I mean, as far as all the advancements that are coming. And I'm sure there's glitches here and there and stuff, but that's natural, you know?
So,
And
so, yeah, so you just gave me a great story.
oh,
I mean, that's the story. I mean, you discovered it. Now, that's the kind of story you want to share because think of how many other people are out there that are just like you.
probably a lot.
And you've already taken a step in the journey. So, part of the, if you've never heard of the marketing term, the hero's journey, the hero's journey is about being a squire to the white knight. You don't fight the battles, but you teach them how.
Hmm.
You get them where they want to be. You become a valuable source. You could be a squire to those white knights who are learning, who want to grow, their downlines and grow their residual income from Nowsite, or even build their own businesses. Now the question is, what do you have to invest in to get to that level of expertise to be able to provide that to help those people along the way where you benefit?
Just get out there and tell the story.
So, start sketching out some stuff. I mean, and listen, all of this takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Don't get frustrated. You're gonna try some stuff and it's not gonna work. You're gonna try some more stuff and it's not gonna work. You're gonna fail multiple times. But eventually, through your failures, there's gonna be a little bit of something that you did that worked.
Hmm.
Learn by that and start building a solid, story based on your failures.
I was just talking to somebody the other day, a new friend I made, about that. It's not really failures; it's learned lessons, and
It
then
is. It's learned lessons.
keep moving on. You don't
Right.
think negative. You got to keep thinking positive and keep moving forward. So you're never failure, not at all.
Well, I think this has been a pretty good talk today, and I want to thank everybody for their input here that's on live on the call. And hopefully you out there in YouTube land got to listen and gained maybe a few little pearls of wisdom out there from the discussion. Again, we meet here every Friday at 1 p.m. Central Time. You can go to our resource page, the AI We Care team, Now.site, and there's a link to this talk, or you can actually go to https:// Zoom with Steve, me, .now.site, Zoom with Steve, .now.site, and passcode is 017502, and you can join the conversation. And like I said, there's a meeting before the meeting. So if you want to join about 15, 20 minutes early, please join us, and you can even have some off-camera questions and answers answered, and we can help you on your journey with Nowsite. And then we'll talk to you next week.
Oh.
So again, thank you very much. This has been the meeting of September 8th, 2023. And this will be posted up on YouTube probably by the weekend. So with that, we're going to have the meeting after the meeting,
Which one? Which one?
and we'll talk to you then. So everybody have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.